The story begins with the Demon King's throne room completely destroyed after an intense battle. Amidst the rebel, a gigantic being has fallen. This monster is the General of Purgatory, an officer in the Demon King's army. The general then looks at the person who defeated him, a human who is slowly approaching. He wonders how the mighty General Maladgo of the Demon King's army could be defeated. And not only that, but he was defeated by a mere human, which was unthinkable for him. The monster then becomes furious and says that this could never happen. He does not accept defeat. However, our hero stands in front of him, ready to deliver the final blow. Zichin then advances with his flaming sword and declares that victory is his. With that, the warrior unleashes a combo of brutal blows on the general. After the battle, our protagonist stands still, observing the body of the defeated monster. In this world, a demon king arose and destroyed kingdoms and countless humans. Then, as the invasion advanced, the demon king placed his officers to govern the lands. 100 years had passed since his arrival, and humanity was under his control, until a warrior appeared to change everyone's destiny, and people celebrated his return. Meanwhile, in a house, a white-haired girl looks worried. She looks out the window anxiously, waiting for someone to return. Back in the village, people celebrate, saying that Roland has defeated one of the officers. Others ask if it is true that he fought for 3 days and 3 nights straight. Everyone welcomes him with joy and calls him the village hero, thanking him for his deed. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out to him, and our protagonist turns to see who it is. With a smile on his face, he says he is back with his childhood friend Felicia. The girl welcomes our hero and says she knew he would be fine. Seeing the two reunion, the residents decide to leave them alone to talk. Felicia then asks if it was okay for him to return from the royal capital so early. Our hero responds that if he stayed there, they would insist that he join the knights. He says he has no intention of leaving the village, and so he left the rest to Solana. Roland then jokes with the girl, saying that he is leaving everything in her hands. She says not to bother his little sister. In another place, a girl tells him not to bother his older sister either. Roland says this couldn't be a more perfect moment, but the Demon King. Solana then asks if he plans to keep her sister worried until he saves the world. So she asked him to show that he is a man and calls him brother-in-law, leaving him embarrassed. Our protagonist is left speechless and blushing at the girl's boldness. Back in the village, Roland calls out to Felicia and says he has a gift for her. The girl is surprised and asks if he is really going to give her a gift. He asks her not to be so surprised and says the word just slipped out. Curious, she asks what gift he is going to give her. Roland then picks up a small box and kneels in front of Felicia. When he opens the box, the girl is surprised to see an engagement ring. Our blushing protagonist asks Felicia to marry him. He says that in times like these, no one knows what tomorrow will bring, but still he wants to be the one who makes her happy. Felicia gets emotional and covers her face. Our hero then completes the sentence by saying that he wants to be the one to protect her. The protagonist recalls that they both lost their parents when they were young. Even in this demon-infested world, Felicia never loses her smile and brings hope to everyone. For someone like him whose only skill is the sword, she is too good for him. That's why he swore he would protect her no matter what happened. The protagonist was determined to keep his promise and protect the girl he loves. With the ring on his finger, he felt stronger and more motivated to fight. Then we see Roland training with his sword. At night, showing his dedication, he continues to practice his sword movements without rest. Felicia then finds him and tells him that he could at least take the night off, but he responds that he needs to be absolutely sure that he can protect that happiness. Felicia stares at him with a worried look. She then calls out to him and asks if he can promise her one thing. Felicia asks him to promise that he will live longer than her. She says she knows he would probably throw his life away to protect her, and who can only live in this cruel world because he believes it will bring peace. A world without him is something she couldn't bear. Roland then agrees and says he doesn't plan on dying anytime soon. Felicia asks if he really understood what she meant. He says he will be fine, but for that he needs to train even more. Our boy says it will take a while, so she can go to sleep first. Felicia asks if he's serious about her going to bed. So remember, they are a couple from today. Our protagonist asks her to wait a bit and says he will be there soon. She finds the clumsy parts of the world's strongest swordsman cute. We see our hero all embarrassed, while Felicia watches him lovingly. Suddenly, Roland's expression changes completely. He feels a sinister presence approaching and wonders what is happening. A mysterious figure appears from the sky and stares at him with a menacing gaze. Our protagonist is frightened when he realizes he is a demon. Our hero feels the crushing pressure and realizes that the enemy's power surpasses that of an officer. Without hesitation, Roland takes his sword determinedly. He advances with all his strength ready for combat. However, the protagonist's expression changes to surprise. He stands there looking at the demon. In an instant, our boy is thrown to the ground completely immobilized. Roland wonders what power is stopping him from moving. The being says that it is no wonder that Miladgo was defeated by him, and that's why he can't let our protagonist roam free. The demon reveals himself as the Demon King himself, shocking our hero. The villain explains that he personally came after him, since an officer had not been killed in 100 years. He says their goal is not the departure of humans, but the emotion called despair. The Demon King then shows an ancient curse. Our hero is terrified and asks what he intends to do with it. The Demon King lets out a macabre smile and casts the curse on the protagonist's village. Our hero screams in despair. The Demon King says that soon what is precious to him will be devoured. Roland is in shock and can't believe it. He tries to run to save Felicia, ignoring the pain in his body. He screams, remembering the promise he made to protect her at all costs. Desperately, our boy begs for her to stay safe. Roland runs to Felicia. She calls him and our protagonist turns around worried. He is confused seeing his beloved's calm expression. Felicia calmly says no. She tells him to forget the promise they made, while she is consumed by the curse. Our hero is paralyzed with horror. Felicia is enveloped by the curse and begins to transform into a monster. He can't accept the terrible scene. As she transforms, the protagonist remembers the happy moments he had with Felicia. Roland screams Felicia's name in pure despair as he sees her transform into that. Little by little, the curse transforms her into a creature with demonic armor. Her once sweet face now has a macabre smile and bright eyes. And then the transformation is complete, and the girl is now a scary monster. Her hands turned into giant, sharp claws ready to attack. Without thinking twice, the creature advances with everything towards our hero. Even shocked by the scene, Roland manages to grab his sword to defend himself. With this, he blocks the attack, but the force of the blow is much greater than his. Our protagonist is pushed back by the absurd strength of his fiancée. He tries to reach her by shouting and asking if she can hear his voice. Our boy says it doesn't matter what she looks like, because he will always love her. But the creature doesn't listen and breaks the boy's sword with its claws. And with the defense destroyed, our protagonist is thrown away by the impact. Fallen to the ground, Roland understands that her mind is gone along with her humanity. The creature looks at him with a cruel smile, as if it was enjoying the situation. At this point, Roland decides that he will just dodge the attacks until her energy runs out. He shouts that they will still be happy, and that there is a way to break the curse. And until that day comes, he promises that he won't let anyone hurt her. In response, Felicia prepares an even more powerful attack towards our hero, but he dodges easily and stands on top of her, staring at her. Felicia attacks with all her strength, turning her body to deliver her blow. From afar, the Demon King watches the fight and praises our protagonist's skill. He says Roland managed to withstand the attack without hurting his opponent. The villain then asks with a smile if our hero really thinks he can break the curse. Roland shouts furiously that as soon as he calms Felicia down, he will finish off the demon. At that moment, the creature advances again, and our protagonist is on alert. The Demon King thinks the situation won't be resolved so easily and prepares another spell. He says that maybe Roland can protect the monster and end the situation. Magic circles appear on the ground and chains bind our boy by surprise. Our hero tries to free himself, but realizes that his body no longer moves. Seeing the opportunity, the creature advances to attack the immobilized protagonist. With the impact, our hero's sword is thrown away. The weapon flies through the air and gets stuck in the ground out of his reach. The Demon King says now, things get interesting as Roland bleeds on the ground. Our boy screams in pain and realizes that with his injured arm, he can no longer defend himself. Meanwhile, the monster slowly approaches his fallen beloved. But even with the pain, our protagonist takes his sword with his other hand. Determined, he prepares to face Felicia even though he is at a great disadvantage. The creature then fires a powerful beam of energy towards him. Roland is hit head-on and thrown against the wall. All injured, our hero feels his strength fading away. His vision starts to blur, and he wonders if this is the end for him. Meanwhile, the monster prepares to deliver the final blow to him. Even on the verge of death, Roland remembers the promise he made to his beloved. In his mind, he sees Felicia, asking him not to forget what they promised. Our protagonist screams that he cannot die and leave her alone in this cruel world. With that, he realizes that he doesn't have much time to save her from the curse. Gathering his last strength, our hero stands up with sword in hand. Then he remembers her smile and his promise to protect her forever. With new determination, Roland charges forward with a kick against the creature. Our boy screams that he will never leave her alone and prepares his last attack. He then uses all his power to pierce his beloved's chest with the sword. The blow hits hard, but Roland doesn't have the strength to push the blade any deeper. He complains that with just one arm the attack was too shallow to stop her. The creature then glares at him with a furious look. With that, Felicia prepares her counterattack using her sharp claws. Without hesitation, she pierces our protagonist's chest with her hand. Our hero screams in pain as blood runs from his mouth. Completely defeated, his body hangs from the creature's arm. The monster holds him victoriously as our hero faces his inevitable death. The creature smiles macabrely at our completely defeated hero. She holds him in the air while his sword is still stuck in her. Even with the unbearable pain, Roland does not give up and gathers his last strength. The monster then throws our protagonist to the ground as if he were trash. But with a last effort, the swordsman manages to get his sword back, and with a swift movement he delivers a final blow to his beloved. In an instant he manages to cut the creature in half with a single blow. The Demon King starts laughing, saying that he cut his own wife in half. Our boy, lying on the floor, says that the villain is mistaken and doesn't understand anything. As his life fades, he reaches out in a last attempt to fight. The demon then says that our hero's life ends here because he took too long. With that, the villain disappears, leaving Roland to die alone on the ground. Suddenly, our protagonist opens his eyes in a completely white place. He gets confused and wonders what place he ended up in. Our hero then looks at his shadow and questions if this is the afterlife. He remembers Felicia's last words asking him to keep his promise, but he ended up dying soon after and was unable to fulfill what he promised. So he wonders if he can say he really kept his promise. Our boy feels that Felicia deserved a much happier ending than she got. Two feathers slowly fall as our hero's consciousness fades. A woman with wings and blindfolded eyes appears in front of our boy. She introduces herself as the angel Myosotis to our surprised protagonist. Roland is confused and asks who she is, but the angel says there is no time. However, she says she has one thing to say before getting to the main point. Myosotis reveals that Felicia was happy even at the end of her life. She says he is also a very kind person, but the angel says that is not kind considering what he is going to ask of him in return. She offers to bring him back to life, and our hero shouts that he will kill the Demon King. This angel seems to accept the boy's determination with a serene look. With that, Myosotis begins to use her magic in a large circle of golden light. His body begins to be pulled down back into the real world. The world around him begins to form into blocks. Our boy then finds himself falling back to the village where he faced his beloved. Myosotis says that when the world is saved, his wish will also be fulfilled. However, the angel says he needs to apologize for something very important. Back in the real world, heavy rain falls on the site of the bloody battle. Roland wonders if the Demon King has already left that place. Myosotis explains that he cannot restore his right arm. Our hero is shocked to hear that his greatest ability will be taken from him. We see the bodies of Roland and Felicia lying on the ground. Back to life, Roland holds the body of his beloved in the heavy rain. He then realizes that his right arm is now Felicia's demonic arm. Our hero despairs at the thought of having to fight with the arm of the woman he loved. Kneeling in the rain, he embraces her body one last time, feeling the pain of loss. With his face full of pain and anger, our protagonist grits his teeth in agony. Then he lets out a scream of pure despair that echoes through the rainy night. The scene is desolate with him and the remains of the creature amidst the destruction. The remains of Felicia's demonic armor are scattered across the floor. After all, our hero buries his beloved in a simple grave near his home. Looking at the engagement ring, he remembers the happiness that was taken from him. He stands there for a while saying goodbye to the woman he swore to protect. Our boy puts the ring on a necklace to forever carry his memory. He apologizes to Felicia for having to fight using her arm. Suddenly, Roland senses a presence and turns to face a new threat. Two werewolf-like monsters appear ready to attack our hero. Our protagonist is shocked to see that the monsters' clothes are familiar. He then understands that all the villagers have also turned into monsters. With a heavy heart, he takes his sword and decides he cannot die there. Our boy apologizes but says he needs to finish them off to move on. But suddenly his demonic arm reacts and stops him from attacking the monsters. The demonic arm stops him, and our protagonist's sword falls to the ground. Roland tries to take it back, but his arm doesn't obey, and he can't hold the gun. He then remembers the angel saying that his skill with the sword would be lost forever. At that moment, he didn't understand what she meant, but now it all makes sense. Seeing our hero unarmed, the werewolves advance to finish him off. With no other choice, our boy decides he will fight using only his fists, but suddenly his arm fires a beam of red energy at one of the monsters. Roland is completely shocked and wonders what just happened. He looks at his arm and feels an overwhelming power he has never felt before. Another werewolf takes advantage of the distraction and advances on our protagonist. With an incredible reflex, he holds the monster's mouth with his demonic hand. The strength of the arm is so great that it crushes the creature's head without any effort. The werewolf's body falls to the ground, defeated by our boy's power. He stands there watching the result of his new and terrible strength. Our hero realizes that the power of the arm is beyond any human law. He screams in pain and confusion, not knowing how to control this new ability. Suddenly, a voice calls him, and he sees a survivor in the middle of the burning village. The man looks at our protagonist with an expression of pure terror on his face. He then points to the demonic arm of our completely terrified hero. The survivor screams that Roland has turned into a monster and runs away in despair. Our protagonist is left speechless when he sees the man running away in fear of him. He realizes that the man was right and that he really has become a monster. With this, our hero understands that he can no longer live among humans. In a distant tavern, news of the destroyed village had already spread. One of the men comments that half of the residents turned into monsters and attacked the rest. Another person completes, saying that even the hero Roland also transformed. One of the regulars is shocked and asks if it's the same one who defeated an officer. They deduce that this is why the Demon Kingdom marked him, and now the human kingdom wants to subjugate him. A woman comments that it's a waste that the former hero is now a target. Someone then leaves the money on the table and prepares to leave the tavern. Meanwhile, in a distant desert in the kingdom of Gringard, our hero goes alone. He walks aimlessly through the desolate land, trying to get used to his new life. Our protagonist then begins to train his new arm by crushing rocks with his strength. He spends his days alone in this desert far from any human settlement. Our boy is determined to master this new power for his revenge. He feels that the arm moves almost like the original, but there is a big problem. The only thing he can't do is hold his sword with his demonic hand. He doesn't even want to touch the sword that took the life of his beloved Felicia. So your priority now is to learn to fight with just your new arm. Suddenly a girl with pink hair appears and attacks him by surprise with her sword. Our hero manages to block the attack at the last second and is surprised by the girl's identity. He then recognizes the girl as Solana, the younger sister of his beloved Felicia. The girl is surprised to see that he can still speak the human language. But even so, she prepares to attack him with her energy-filled gauntlets. Roland tries to explain that he didn't turn into a monster, but Solana doesn't believe him and calls him a liar. Furious, she says that if he were really her brother, he wouldn't have left her sister behind. With tears in her eyes, Solana advances, shouting that he abandoned Felicia. Then in a flashback, we see the three together when they were just kids in a cemetery. Little Solana cries, desperately calling for her parents who have already passed away. Felicia tries to comfort her younger sister while Roland watches the scene sadly. She hugs the little girl and says that from that moment on she would be her new mother. The little girl then asks who their father would be now that they were alone. Felicia doesn't know what to say with an expression of pure sadness on her face. Roland hugs them both and asks them to call him Big Brother, and with a determined look he finishes by saying that he will be their new father. Little Solana cries even more but seems to accept the new family that has been formed. She then clings to our protagonist, finding comfort in his embrace. That day she believed that the three of them would be together forever, and she was happy. Back in the present, Solana continues to attack our hero with all her fury. The battle between the two continues as someone watches them from afar. Solana attacks with everything and our hero defends himself from her blows as best he can. The girl unleashes a series of punches and kicks, but Roland manages to block them all. Then she uses a special skill called double palm strike to catch him. The blow throws him back with tremendous force, but he manages to stay on his feet. Our protagonist uses the demonic arm to protect himself and looks at the girl seriously. Solana calls him a stubborn fool and says she just wants to free her brother as soon as possible. Roland yells at her to stop and insists that he is not a monster even with his arm. The girl then angrily asks why her sister is no longer there, and she keeps asking about the grave he dug for Felicia in the village. With tears in her eyes, Solana cries out asking why things ended like this. Our hero looks away and sadly says that she saw everything that happened, but the girl says that monsters deceive people and remembers that it was he who asked to be her brother. She then says she won't let her body suffer anymore and prepares another attack. Your gauntlet begins to glow with an intense golden energy. With that, she advances at high speed towards our protagonist. The girl screams at him to do nothing as she prepares the finishing blow. Solana then uses her explosive rock fist and slams it into the ground. The impact of the blow destroys everything around in a huge explosion of dust. After the dust settles, the girl stands in the middle of the destruction. She then realizes that he managed to escape by jumping onto a very high rock. Roland realizes that the girl is completely shaken and will not listen to any explanation. He understands that he can't blame her because she lost her sister and now sees him as a monster. Our hero then begins to think that maybe she isn't entirely wrong about him. He remembers Felicia's lifeless body and the pain he felt at that moment. But our boy wonders how he can make her see the truth that he didn't kill her. He understands that expecting her to accept the truth now would be unrealistic on his part. So our protagonist thinks about simply leaving quietly to avoid further conflict. Suddenly, our hero's expression changes as he realizes a new threat is approaching. The girl also seems to sense the presence and stops, running looking to the side in surprise. A giant monster appears behind her, and Roland screams desperately for her to be careful. Before she can react, the creature hits her with a powerful blow. The girl is thrown away by the impact of the monster's attack. With that, Solana falls to the ground completely defenseless and injured. Falling to the ground, she spits blood and can barely move after the blow. The monster prepares for the final blow as she calls out to her sister and Roland. The monster then raises his club to finish off the girl once and for all. But our hero advances with his demonic arm and punches the creature with everything he has. Solana remains on the floor without understanding anything when she sees what just happened. Our protagonist's fist pierces the chest of the screaming monster with a look full of hate. Roland says that they keep taking everything from him. He remembers that the woman he loved most and his right-hand man took away his peaceful life. Our protagonist looks at Solana lying on the ground and wonders if they are going to take her away. With a determined look, he swears he will wait for them one by one. His arm begins to glow with red energy, and he prepares to attack. Then Roland shouts that he will destroy them, all to the last one with all his power. After the battle, the ground is cracked and covered in blood and remains of the monster. Our hero realizes that when he grabbed the monster's arm, he absorbed its strength. He then understands the true power of his demonic arm to absorb abilities. In the midst of the destruction he sees, Solana still fallen and realizes what happened. Our protagonist understands that this power is not gentle like Felicia, but rather a power that takes away. Later, the two are sitting around a campfire in silence. Solana finally understands the truth and remembers the Demon King and her sister's transformation. She is shocked to realize she was wrong about our hero all along. Our boy then apologizes for not being able to protect her. He stares into the fire with a blank, sad expression on his face. With tears, Solana apologizes, saying that he is the one who is suffering the most. She blames herself for not knowing anything and for attacking him without thinking. Our hero says that everything is fine and that it is not her fault at all. He then says that he is the only one to blame for not being able to keep Felicia safe, and with a look full of hate he swears revenge against the damned Demon King. Roland says he will hunt the Demon King across the world and end him with his own hands. With a look full of determination, the girl does not stay behind in the decision. Solana then says she will fight alongside him, which surprises our hero. She places her hand over his in a gesture of union and mutual promise. The girl reminds him that they are a family, and he shouldn't carry this burden alone. Our protagonist is left speechless by the girl's loyalty and affection. He then agrees and says that Felicia was also taken from her and revenge is not just his. The next day, Solana is ready to leave, but he asks how they will find the villain. He explains that the Demon King belongs to no land and appears without warning, but he remembers that the villain appeared when he defeated Maladgo, one of the officers. Solana understands his logic and says that in this case she knows where to start. She says that among the recent rewards, there is one with a very large prize. The bounty is for the 7 spirits of Maladgo, and the rumor is of a ghost in his castle. With that, the girl suggests that if the rumor is true, this should be their first target. They then set off together, determined to hunt down the ghost of Maladgo. With that, the two travel north across the desert towards the castle. That's why he hides his face and bandages his arm as they travel down roads less traveled. Solana stares at him silently, looking a little thoughtful. The girl then says that it has been a long time since they last traveled together. Our hero says it's been 2 years since they were in the same group. He explains that he couldn't take her on his high-risk, low-survivability missions, but the girl says she has become stronger and that together they will not lose to anyone. Roland remembers that even with his sword, he couldn't even scratch the Demon King. Then he says that if it were the 3 of them together, including Felicia, things would be different. Our protagonist remembers the angel's promise and believes there is a way to bring her back. With a smile, Solana says that it is better to think so and that they will fight together. He notices that the girl is trying hard to cheer him up and is touched by the gesture. Just like Felicia did when they lost their parents, she is trying to be strong for him. Our hero smiles and agrees that it's a good idea to think positively. Solana breaks into a radiant smile when she sees that she has managed to cheer up her brother. Our protagonist feels grateful to have her by his side during this difficult time. He then swears that he will fight with his new arm and protect Solana at all costs. After a long walk, they finally arrive at the imposing castle of Maladgo. Solana asks if he came here when he defeated the officer, and if anything has changed. Our hero responds that nothing has changed since the last time he was there. The place remains the same dark and menacing as before without any changes. He then notices that the fire on the throne is still, which can only mean one thing. With this, the MC concludes that Maladgo is still alive and hiding somewhere. Our MC then warns Solana not to let his guard down. Suddenly, a mysterious voice says that Lord Maladgo is not in the castle. Then a demon boy appears and introduces himself as Kronos, the caretaker of the place. Kronos then recognizes our hero and asks how he managed to survive. With a smile, he says he heard that the Demon King had finished off Roland. Without thinking twice, our protagonist advances with a powerful kick at the boy. But Kronos easily dodges and complains that he was still in the middle of his speech. Then the demon tries to attack Solana from behind, taking advantage of her distraction. Our hero manages to block the attack in time. Solana is shocked and realizes that his speed surpasses that of Maladgo. Kronos then looks at our protagonist with a smile. He says he is happy to see Roland's right arm and identifies it as a woman's. The demon starts laughing and says he needs to report this information to the Demon King. Kronos thought a demon would answer his questions. He says he is kind, and so he will only answer one of the questions. He reveals that Maladgo went to Okuna village, where the survivors are rebuilding. Roland and Solana are shocked to learn that he plans to destroy the city again. The demon then taunts them, saying that he will not stop them from leaving. Our hero stands there thinking, but Solana urges him to go to the village. He decides he can't abandon the survivors here. Our hero then says he will not forgive any of his kind and turns to leave. Kronos mocks the threat by saying that our protagonist is scary, but he reveals that he will not report anything because the situation has become very interesting. Meanwhile, chaos broke out in Okuna village with houses catching fire. One of the survivors screams in pain as he is held down by a gigantic being. This being is Maladgo, who asks the man where our hero's body is. The demon general boasts that being in charge of a region is the greatest honor. He remembers when he was defeated by our protagonist and the feeling of humiliation. Maladgo does not accept having been the first officer to be defeated by a mere human. Then, with a cry of fury, he declares that he will do it all again to win. He says he's back from hell and he's going to drag Roland back there with him. The survivor then asks if Roland wasn't turned into a monster by the demons. Maladgo is surprised to hear that our protagonist has become an abomination. He says this story doesn't match what the Demon King told him. The man is terrified when he realizes that the demon did not know about the transformation. The general then demands that the survivor tell all the details of what happened. Before the man could say anything, Maladgo noticed a new presence and told him to stop. Our hero speaks, surprised to see him alive in front of him. Maladgo returns the provocation, saying that it was his speech, and laughs at the situation. He says this is perfect because it saves him the trouble of looking for our protagonist's body. Maladgo shouts that he wants to fight to the death once more with our hero, but our protagonist says that the general's conclusion was a big mistake. The villain then realizes that there are obstacles blocking their duel. Solana shouts that she will not follow his whims, and that she will also fight. With that, Roland uses his demonic arm to stop the girl from intruding. Then Maladgo summons fire soldiers from the ground to attack the village. He says his flame soldiers will burn all the villagers alive, and he says that if the girl tries to save them, he won't stop her from going. The girl is furious with his twisted logic and calls him a demon. The general explains that all he wants is a fair duel with our protagonist. Solana then decides that she will stop the soldiers and trusts her brother to fight. Our hero agrees and asks her to protect everyone in the village while he fights. He reassures her that he has already defeated him once and will not lose again. With that, the girl runs to save the residents, trusting our hero. Maladgo then prepares to rewrite the ending of their last battle. He notices the boy's demonic arm and comments that things are different. The villain asks about the sword that defeated him, and says he'd planned to break it. But our protagonist tells him to stop talking and come to the fight right away. The general calls him boring as always for not wanting to talk before the fight. Without patience, the villain advances with everything towards him. In his thoughts, our hero admits that he only said that to calm Solana down. He knows he is at a disadvantage without his sword, and with the power of the strongest enemy. The balance between them has completely shifted, and the fight will be much harder. But even so, our protagonist refuses to lose this battle again. He decides to treat his demonic arm as if it were his old blade. With this, he tries to deflect the general's blow instead of facing him head-on. Our boy manages to dodge the attack with impressive agility. Even without the sword, his battle instincts remain as sharp as ever. But the general shouts that he is too soft and hits him with a powerful blow. The impact throws our hero away, but he manages to recover in the air. Our protagonist understands that the reach of an arm is much shorter than that of a sword. The general notices the movement and how he managed to soften the blow in the air. Then Malago decides to use an even more powerful attack to finish him off. Our hero is on alert as he sees the demon preparing his next move. With that, the general launches his infernal roar, a devastating blast of fire. The attack explodes everything around our protagonist in a large ball of fire. Our boy realizes that the flames of the abyss are much stronger than before. He knows that if he gets hit hard, it will be the end for him. The general then taunts our hero by asking what is wrong with him. But our protagonist says that maybe what he said that day was wrong. And with a determined look, our hero says he's going to prove it to him now. The general then jumps and tries to crush our protagonist with his axe. Our boy realizes he can't go on like this and needs to use his power. With that, he decides he has no other choice but to unleash all his power. He then uses his arm of usurpation ability and grabs the general's arm. Malago is shocked to feel his power being drained by our hero. He holds his demon arm tightly to absorb all his energy. With the stolen strength, he delivers a powerful blow to the general with his arm. The attack throws the villain away with a tremendous impact and a lot of dust. But our hero realizes that the blow did not have much effect on the enemy. Malago says he was shocked that he stole his power, but that's not enough. The general then laments that their rematch ended so pathetically. Our protagonist has his arm turned to stone after absorbing the power. Malago calls him grotesque and asks what he thinks he is doing. Our hero then angrily says that he has no right to mock her arm. The general is confused and asks what he means by her. Suddenly, Malago starts laughing out loud and says that he only now understood the situation. He then realizes that the arm belongs to our hero's beloved, who has turned into a monster. Our protagonist remembers Felicia and apologizes for becoming a hero. The general calls him pathetic and sentimental and threatens to ask the Demon King for Solana. Our protagonist says that the absorbed power is still not enough to win. He yells that he can't lose to the general again and tells him to disappear. Malago then uses his infernal roar once more at full power. But our hero screams for his arm to steal all the power from his attack. With that, he advances against the blast of fire, determined to absorb everything. The village that was already in flames is now even more destroyed by the power. The fire spreads everywhere, consuming the houses and the battle scene. The demon general watches with a cruel smile on his face at the result. Our protagonist then appears with his arm on fire and says he will steal all the power. He explains that by consuming the general's power, his arm now has the power of fire. Malago is surprised to see that our hero managed to steal even his flame. He looks at our protagonist with a serious and angry look, but he says Roland couldn't absorb it all, and now he's all bruised up. Our hero responds that it's just a scratch and that he won't give up. The general then prepares to strike with his axe and shut him up. Our protagonist admits that the damage was not light, but he will not give up. He then prepares a counterattack with twice the power of the stolen fire. With that, the two advance against each other in a devastating clash of powers. The impact of the blows creates a large crack in the ground. Malago is shocked to see that his axe has been broken by our hero's power. Our hero explains that he is using the flames to increase his strength and speed. The general then looks at his broken axe and doesn't seem too shaken. He tells our protagonist not to think too highly of himself, just because he managed to steal his flame. Then Malago begins to unleash all of its firepower in an overwhelming explosion. He says our hero's firepower doesn't even come close to his. With that, the general engulfs himself in flames and shows the true power of his flame. He then advances towards our protagonist as a giant fireball. Malago shouts that our hero is 1,000 years too early to challenge him in the fire. Our boy then prepares for the clash of the two powers in a great explosion. Solana, who was fighting the fire soldiers, stops and looks at the battle. She seems worried about the outcome of the clash between the two giants. The clash of powers creates a wave of energy that spreads throughout the village. The two then face each other in an exchange of fire and blue energy blows. Malago shouts that with this his firepower will increase even more. Our hero feels the incredible power of the fire and the pressure of the general's attack. He knows that his body won't be able to handle the flame for long, but he doesn't give up. Our protagonist then realizes that is exactly this firepower that he needs. The general is shocked to see that our hero is absorbing even more of his flame. Furious, he decides to increase his firepower even more to crush him. Both scream and release all their power in a final confrontation. The general transforms into a fire beast for his final attack. He then advances with everything ready to incinerate our protagonist once and for all. But our hero says he warned that he would absorb all of his power. With this, he manages to absorb all of the general's flame into his arm. Malago is shocked and shouts that it is impossible for him to have achieved such a feat. Then our protagonist delivers a final blow to the demon with all the stolen power. The general is speechless when he sees that his own flame has been used against him. With his power stolen, the villain's body begins to slowly disintegrate. He then feels a chill and realizes that his defeat is inevitable. The general's body falls to the ground, completely defeated and lifeless. Our hero looks at his arm and feels the tremendous power he now possesses. He knows he won't be able to use the same power as the final blow, but he can use the flame multiple times. With this, he understands that he can defeat the officers and steal their powers for himself. He then asks Felicia to lend her strength until he can achieve his revenge. At that moment, Solana calls him, and he turns to see the girl approaching. She says she defeated most of the demons, and the rest burned to the ground. The girl then asks worriedly if our hero is okay. He reassures her that it's nothing, and that he's fine despite everything. Solana then suggests that they get out of there before a subjugation squad shows up. She worries that they will attack him like a demon. Solana realizes that his desire for revenge is making him reckless and needs to support him. She then helps him walk as they leave the destroyed village behind. The survivors he saved watch the two leave in silence. They see our hero and his companion walking away amidst the destruction. One of the men calls out to Roland and asks if he really hasn't turned into a monster. Our protagonist stops walking and remains silent, not knowing what to respond. The man says he thought he had become a monster like all the others. He then adds that despite everything, our hero is still human. He wonders if he can really say he's not a monster after all. He remembers all the battles and the demonic power he now possesses. Before he can answer, Solana interrupts and says that of course he is human. She shouts to the villagers that he is still the same big brother he always was. The girl says he fought Malago and saved everyone like a hero. Solana completes by saying that he has always been the village's greatest hero and he is Roland. Memsi is moved by the girl's words and calls her by name. The survivor agrees and says that Roland is human and their pride. He then thanks them for rescuing them and for always taking care of everyone. The other residents also surround him, thanking him and showing their support. One of the men says he will report to the suppression squad that the rumor was false. Our MC thanks him, but asks him not to do this as misunderstandings are inevitable. He explains that once doubt sets in, it is not easy to erase it. Residents understand that even if it were a rumor, it would be dangerous for them. One of the men says that this way the entire kingdom will think our hero is a monster, but our protagonist reassures him and asks them to take care of the village while he is away. With a serious expression, the man agrees and says that they will take care of everything. The two then prepare to set out on their journey of revenge and redemption. One of the survivors asks them to wait and offers to tend to their wounds. He then says that they will return to the village one day when this is all over. Suddenly, the remains of Malago's body begin to glow with a purple energy. Purple smoke surrounds the two, and a voice says the connection has been made. Our protagonist turns around in surprise and sees the spectral figure of the demon Kronos. Kronos appears in projection form and says he can only speak like this. Our hero realizes he can hear him, but cannot feel his presence. The demon then comments that Malago was defeated again by our protagonist. He explains that necromancy can only reanimate a body once, and the general was all ready. Our boy asks who he is, and if he isn't one of Malago's men. Kronos says he came to introduce himself because he was appointed by the demon king. With an evil smile, he reveals that he is the new officer who will replace Malago. With that, a new threat appears in our hero's path, and his journey becomes more difficult. Our protagonist is shocked to learn that the boy is a new officer in the demon army. Kronos then reveals himself as the High Necromancer successor to Malago. He says he knows about our hero's desire for revenge, but the demon king doesn't care. But Kronos says it would be a shame if all his efforts to win were in vain. Our boy asks what he wants, and the demon says he loves human despair. He comes closer and says that someone like our protagonist is a delight for him. Kronos says it would be a waste to finish off our hero so quickly, and with a cruel smile he comments that he is anxious to see what will happen when he loses Solana. The girl is not intimidated and screams that she will fight and make him regret underestimating her. The devil laughs and says that without hope, despair cannot spring. So he encourages them to give it their all to defeat him next time. Kronos then says goodbye and his projection disappears into thin air, leaving the two behind. Solana comments that he disappeared and that looking there would be useless now. Our hero understands that Malago was resurrected by him, and now there is a new officer. He realizes that if with each defeat a new officer emerges, the fight will never end. The only answer for him is to end all the demons once and for all. Suddenly, Solana perks up and says that if resurrection magic exists, so there might also be a way to bring your sister Felicia back to life. Our protagonist is surprised by her conclusion in the midst of all the confusion, but he smiles and says that's so typical of her to think optimistically. Our hero agrees and says that with the objective set they just need to move forward. But first he says he needs to take care of his injuries so he can fight better. Solana then says with a smile that she will train him personally. She explains that as a fighter, she has much more experience in martial arts than he does. With a confident look, the girl says that she will be the one to strengthen him. Later, our protagonist has the same dream as before in a white and empty room. He then sees Felicia's figure in front of him and is happy to see her again. The girl appears with a gentle smile and a golden aura around her. He regrets not being able to talk to or touch her, and wishes the dream gave him more freedom. Our hero then wonders if she also feels bored in a place like that. Felicia just smiles at him, calm and understanding as always. The two stand in front of each other in a silence full of meaning. Suddenly, he sees a flame that seems to be the power of the Malago that he absorbed. Our protagonist asks if it's not hot, but the flame seems harmless. The girl then looks at him with a sweet and gentle smile on her face. With that, she approaches and gives him a warm kiss before disappearing. Our hero is surprised and happy with his beloved's gesture of affection. He then closes his eyes, feeling the warmth and love she transmitted to him. Back in the real world, our protagonist wakes up and sees Solana taking care of him. She greets him with a smile and says she heated up some soup for him. Solana says that after breakfast, they will begin the day's training. Our hero looks at the flame in his hand and thinks that it is okay to go this way. The girl then says that they will resume the unique training they started yesterday. She points to him and says his main weakness is his footwork. Our protagonist agrees and admits that his weight and space control is still not perfect. He remembers that in the fight with Maladgo, he lost a chance to attack because of this. Solana then tells him to try to do what she taught him the day before. Our boy agrees and prepares to show what he learned from her. He then positions himself and begins to move with surprising agility. Their movements are quick and precise, raising dust and leaves from the ground. The movement is so fast that it disturbs the birds that fly away. He then throws a punch in the air that almost hits Solana in the face. The girl is shocked by the speed and power of his blow. She yells, asking why he didn't do this when she taught him yesterday. With her eyes shining, she wonders if he is also a martial arts expert, but our hero says that it's not quite like that, and that he had time to practice. He explains that he stood guard all night and practiced the movement repeatedly. Solana is impressed by his dedication and calls him careless. Our protagonist is a little embarrassed by her compliment. She then smiles and tells them to try the reverse move now. Solana teaches you not to create a gap and to control the space around you. She worries about him because she knows he fights recklessly without thinking about life. The girl says he can fight multiple opponents without being surrounded with this technique. But our hero says they will stop using this fighting technique. He explains that even if he tries to replicate it, he can't match her series of attacks. Solana is a little embarrassed and surprised by the compliment about her speed. Our protagonist then says he has an idea to use his own characteristics against his rivals. He reveals that there is a region of hellhounds ahead, and he has a plan for them. Our hero remembers that when he defeated Malago, there was a request for subjugation for these monsters. He then cuts his hand and lets the blood drip onto a rock to attract them. Our protagonist says he will make sure Sepharana is safe during the plan. With that, he throws the bloody stone into the middle of the forest to attract the monsters. The smell of blood spreads through the forest and attracts the attention of something. Glowing red eyes begin to appear in the darkness of the forest. A pack of hellhounds appears and begins following the trail of blood. Solana is worried when she sees the amount of monsters coming. Our hero says that the most essential thing about a combat technique is whether it can be used. He then prepares for a practical rival test against the hellhounds. Meanwhile, two children walk alone through the forest calling for help. They look lost and scared. One of the children says it's lethal to come to a place like that, but the other child is Kronos in disguise, who says everything is fine. He tells her with a cruel smile that she will not be dragged into a hero's fight. Back in the fight, our hero prepares for the real combat of many against one. He knows that the hellhounds act in packs, with multiple leaders and coordinated attacks. With that, he yells for the monsters to come and shows them the scent they were tracking. One of the hellhounds with sharp teeth and red eyes advances with everything. The monster runs at high speed, ready to attack our protagonist. Our boy prepares to attack, and the creature jumps on him. With his demonic arm, he can easily hold the monster in the air. Solana then screams desperately that they are also coming from behind. Our hero realizes that the monsters are cunning and attack in a coordinated manner. He remembers what Solana said about the hit and run tactic to avoid being flanked. But our protagonist decides that he will not use this tactic and will fight head-on. With a war cry, he unleashes each blow with everything he has on the monsters. He then hits one of the hellhounds with a powerful and accurate blow. With this, he steals the energy of the defeated enemy and uses it for the next attack. This way, he can maintain his attacks with high destructive power. Our hero screams that he will plunder the power of all of them, even if his life is at risk. He is determined not to back down until his revenge is complete. Solana is impressed and says he is already starting to find his own way of fighting. Our protagonist continues to fight the monsters with mastery and precision. After the battle, he looks around and notices that a new wave of monsters is approaching. He notices that these hellhounds are bigger and stronger than the previous ones. Our hero then says that the training was enough and prepares to finish off the pack. Suddenly, he senses a presence in the forest and goes on high alert. He realizes that the pack leader is using his men as bait to escape. With a war cry, our protagonist advances with his arm in flames and blue energy. Meanwhile, Kronos is with a girl lost in the dark forest. The girl says she wants to go home and asks if he knows the way back. Kronos points in a direction and asks if her village is that way. He then says that if they get there it should be okay for her. But with a macabre smile he reveals that it is all a lie and there is nothing beyond that. He says she will be attacked by a hellhound, and if she wants to blame someone, blame Roland. Kronos then says goodbye to the girl and disappears, leaving her alone and terrified. The girl doesn't understand anything and wonders where the boy went. Alone in the dark forest, she begs not to be left behind. She begins to gasp in fear as she hears the sounds of the forest around her. Suddenly, she feels a presence approaching, and her body freezes with fear. The girl screams that she doesn't want to die as tears stream down her face. But before the creature could attack the girl, our hero appears and saves her with a powerful blow to the monster. With a flash of red, the young warrior strikes down the hellhound, shielding the small girl from its claws. He holds her protectively, wondering why a child would be all alone in such a dangerous forest. The terrified girl looks up, her eyes wide as she notices his large, demonic-looking arm. He feels a sense of responsibility, determined to protect her since his actions lured the monsters here. Looking down at her, he gently tells the girl to close her eyes and covers her face with his hand. He runs while carrying her, realizing the cunning hellhounds are attacking now, that he can't fight freely. As he flees, another monster lunges from behind, but his focus remains on protecting the child. He blocks the creature's attack, knowing that staying on the defensive will cause him to lose his absorbed energy. The pack continues to press forward, putting him in a difficult position as he struggles to defend them both. Suddenly, Solana crashes into the fight with a powerful kick, telling him that he can rely on her. He looks up in surprise and relief, calling out his companion's name as she joins the battle. She apologizes for being late and immediately shifts her concern to the well-being of the child. He explains he found her being attacked, and the girl tearfully introduces herself as Lily. Solana gives a cheerful thumbs up, saying it is a good sign that the girl is able to speak. He then carefully entrusts Lily to Solana, asking her to keep the child safe from the fight. With the girl out of harm's way, he turns to face the massive pack of hellhounds that now surrounds him. Meanwhile, Solana holds Lily close and gently asks if she has been hurt at all. The hero seems a bit confused, scratching his head as he confirms the girl's name again. His companion then asks Lily why she was wandering alone in such a dangerous part of the forest. The child looks down sadly, explaining that she was with a boy who has since disappeared. She continues, saying the boy told her he would take her home but vanished after leading her to a certain spot. The hero deduces she was likely lured by a demon that might still be targeting her. Solana then asks Lily if she remembers the exact way she came, and the child confidently confirms she does. Lily points towards a path in the woods, telling them her home, Kuriki Village, is over there. The young man looks toward the village, taking in the sight of the small settlement from a distance. His companion notes the village is far from town, making it a safe place for him to go without being found. He then turns to Lily, showing her his demonic arm, and asking if she can keep its existence a secret. The little girl innocently asks why, surprising him by saying she thinks his arm is cool. Her eyes sparkle as she explains it is cool, because that was the arm he used to save her life. He covers his face, embarrassed that she saw the fight even though he told her to keep her eyes closed. Solana adds that she is also glad he was there, and his arm looks pretty cool to her too. He looks down at his arm, questioning if something so monstrous could truly be seen as cool. The young girl just gives him a warm and reassuring smile, as if she truly means it. He looks at his hand again and reluctantly agrees that maybe she has a point after all. The group finally arrives at the entrance of Kuriki Village, a small and peaceful-looking place. They walk through the quiet marketplace, noticing mostly older villagers and a few women going about their day. Now wearing a hood, he observes that the lack of young men makes it less likely he will be recognized. Lily points to a quaint house up the road, announcing that it is her home as she calls for her mother. A woman appears at the doorway, welcoming her daughter back before asking about the strangers with her. Lily excitedly explains that her new friends saved her from a monster. Her mother holds her close, asking if she is all right. The child confirms she is fine because they protected her. Lily explains that if they had not been there, she would have been in real danger, shocking her mother. Feeling guilty for causing so much worry, the young girl looks down and apologizes. The woman hugs her daughter tightly, telling her she understands and is just glad she is safe. From the doorway, the hero and his companion watch the touching family reunion unfold. Lily's mother then turns to them, apologizing and expressing her deep gratitude before asking for their names. The pink-haired girl cheerfully introduces herself as Solana, a traveling martial artist. When she hesitates to introduce him, the hero quickly gives the fake name Laura. The woman finds his name a bit unusual, and he apologizes, noting it sounds like a woman's name. She waves off his concern and insists on treating them to a meal as a thank you, despite not having much. Turning to her daughter, she asks for help with the meal, and Lily happily agrees. With everything settled, the mother warmly invites both of the travelers to come inside their home. Once inside, he quietly complains to Solana about her using his usual fake name. He remembers playing the role of her big brother in the past, a memory tied to that very name. Changing the subject, he asks if she has noticed the distinct lack of men in the village, which she confirms. He suspects a demon has made its base nearby and has been preying on the local men. He decides they will stay for a while to defeat the demon and use the opportunity to become stronger. Solana understands, agreeing they need to develop new fighting styles and abilities for his arm. He adds that bringing peace to the world is a long-time dream they all share, and she agrees wholeheartedly. Just then, Lily peeks out from the doorway, curiously asking if they are coming in. The hero quickly replies that they are coming, and they follow the little girl into her home. Outside, the village remains quiet, mostly inhabited by elderly people like an old man resting with his cane. Inside, the two travelers sit at a wooden table, sharing a warm meal with Lily and her mother. Lily proudly asks if the food is good, pointing out she cut the vegetables, which are noticeably large. After tasting it, Solana praises the girl's cooking, though the mother humbly apologizes for the simple offering. His companion insists that the apology is not needed, reassuring the woman that the stew is truly delicious. The mother smiles sadly, explaining that she has struggled since her husband passed away 5 years ago. The hero removes his hood, his expression serious as he asks if demons were responsible for his death. She confirms it, revealing that demons have been living in some old ruins on the village outskirts for years. The woman continues, saying her husband was one of their victims, and that Lily was too young to remember him. Solana asks why she does not just leave, but the mother replies that they have nowhere else to go. She explains that the village chief requested help from the guild, but their plea was pushed aside. The young man knows this is common, as demon clearing requests from small villages often get buried. The mother clutches her apron, feeling she cannot complain when other places might be suffering more. He looks at her with a steady gaze, telling her that she should not have to think that way. His compassionate words seem to catch both Solana and the woman by surprise. He continues, stating firmly that the suffering of others is no reason for her and the village not to be saved. The mother looks at him with tears in her eyes, addressing him by his real name, Roland. He tells her to lead them to the ruins, promising to handle the subjugation. She seems unsure. Before she can finish, Lily jumps in to defend him, proudly declaring that her big brother is strong. The child quickly covers her mouth, and her mother smiles, telling her it is nothing. The hero reassures her, confidently stating that even if they do not look like much, they are quite capable. Later, the two stand on a hill, reflecting on how people have grown too used to the existence of demons. He believes people should not have to endure such scum, and for that reason, they will fight back. They arrive at the ruins, confirming with each other that this is the place and demons are likely inside. Standing before a dark cave entrance, they note that the unknown layout and potential traps make entry dangerous. The young man agrees, acknowledging that it is a basic rule of adventuring to never carelessly enter enemy territory. He then says he has a trick for these situations and asks Solana to lend him some gunpowder. Although a speed-type martial artist, his companion also uses magic tools like gunpowder to boost her power. One of her main tools is a pair of gloves infused with explosive magic and gunpowder. Combining his arms' plundering ability with the flames of Maladgo, he channels a powerful energy. He tells Solana he will use this power, preparing to launch a devastating attack. He throws the supercharged gunpowder, sending a massive wave of red and blue energy toward the cave. The entrance to the ruins explodes in a brilliant flash, shaking the very ground beneath them. He declares that the best way to deal with a nest is to wipe the whole thing out in one go. Solana worries about the historical value of the ruins, but he insists the living are more important. With the entrance now a pile of rubble, he announces that their real fight is just beginning. Suddenly, the ground rumbles, and the entire structure of the ruins begins to collapse inward. He mutters in annoyance as they are forced back by the collapsing cave, wondering what is happening. As the dust settles, a massive stone figure begins to rise from the rubble. From a hidden spot within the ruins, a demonic figure realizes the collapse was not an accident, but an attack. The creature with a monocle snarls, understanding what this means for his carefully laid plans. He slams his fists down in fury, enraged that someone has dared to interfere with his territory. The demon fumes, having already made sure to eliminate every strong human from the village one by one. The hero stares up at the golem, certain it must be the demon who killed Lily's father, and a troublesome one at that. He knows that demons often weave complex schemes to drive humanity into despair, a trait inherited from their lord. Their underlings are typically mindless monsters that kill relentlessly. Unlike this constructed foe, golems are merely earth animated by magic, meaning they are not living beings he can drain energy from. The stone giant brings its massive fist down, aiming to crush the young warrior in a single blow. He catches the colossal punch, straining as the ground beneath him cracks from the sheer force. As his demonic hand glows, he finds he is unable to siphon any power from the non-living creature. A bead of sweat rolls down his face as he realizes this golem is an unexpected natural counter to his arm. From his perch, the demon watches with a bored expression, annoyed that his creation is being held back. Just then, Solana bursts through a wall, launching a swift kick at the demon's head. The creature dodges with ease, deciding to deal with the girl he dislikes before getting back to his fun. He glares at her with a menacing look, vowing to finish all of his intruders right here. Meanwhile, the fight against the giant golem rages on, with the hero and his companion dodging its attacks. He notes that while the golem is not an elite monster, it is still surprisingly capable in combat. The stone giant then raises its arms and issues a command, preparing to summon reinforcements. The ground begins to shake as an army of smaller golems rises from the earth to join the battle. He tells Solana he is counting on her, recognizing this pattern is just like his fight against Maladgo. She warns him that she has never fought such a massive golem, and it is too risky to face it head-on. The giant golem raises its fists, roaring that it will crush them both at once. With immense speed, the creature's colossal stone fist plummets down toward the young warrior. He catches the blow with his demonic arm, the impact creating a powerful shockwave around him. While he is occupied, one of the smaller golems lands a solid punch on his side. Solana quickly leaps in, shattering the attacking golem with a single, powerful kick. He struggles against the weight, realizing he cannot break the fist without using his stolen energy. His companion calls out to him, trying to get his attention as the smaller golems close in. She yells that he is not using his weight properly, reminding him about his footwork training. Remembering her lesson, he stops his foot down hard, planting himself firmly on the ground. He channels the force from his stance up through his entire body and into his demonic arm. A burst of red energy erupts from his hand, completely shattering the golem's massive stone fist. He realizes he can win by using technique to magnify the impact instead of relying on raw strength. The giant creature's arm crumbles away, sending large chunks of rock and dust flying everywhere. The hero now knows that with this method, even an opponent he cannot drain will take damage. Solana watches in disbelief as his attack shatters the seemingly indestructible stone. To her shock, a brand new arm immediately begins to sprout from the golem's damaged shoulder. The demon smirks from his hiding spot, explaining that a golem's form can vary and now has a humanoid shape. He then reveals himself with a flourish, announcing his title as the Archdemon. The golem morphs and regenerates, its new arm now a massive, house-sized club. The hero pushes off the regenerated arm, realizing its regenerative speed is formidable. He dodges another powerful strike, barely avoiding being crushed by the golem's relentless assault. He grits his teeth, impressed by the creature's incredible regeneration and morphing speed. The golem raises its newly formed weapons, a spiky mace and a sharp drill, its power clearly not to be underestimated. He recalls that the only way to stop a golem is to destroy its core, but this one likely has several. With a determined look, he knows his only path to victory is to find and destroy every single core. Just then, his companion shouts for him to swap positions, and he turns to see what she has planned. She leaps high into the air, using the golem's own body as a springboard to gain height. She explains that since he is hunting for cores, her superior speed makes her better suited for the task. With incredible agility, she zigzags up the golem's massive body, running along its arm toward its head. The puppet master watches from afar, muttering in annoyance at the girl's persistent interference. As she runs, the golem swings its arm to swat her away, but she expertly dodges the attack. She flips through the air, narrowly avoiding the swipe as chunks of stone fly past her. Though the golem is tough, she has a plan to find its weak spots, and it is not by smashing it randomly. As she lands a precise strike, she feels the vibration and senses the location of a core. Meanwhile, the young warrior holds off the smaller golems, determined not to let his companion shoulder the burden alone. She strikes the golem's chest and shoulder, locating 2 more cores and declaring that she wants to be the one to back him up. She yells for him to swap now, then calls out the locations of the 3 cores she found. The demon's eyes widen in shock and anger as he realizes the intruders have discovered his golem's weakness. Praising his companion for a job well done, the hero dashes forward with incredible speed. He leaps high into the air, soaring toward the golem's shoulder with his fist cocked back. With a powerful kick, he shatters the stone and exposes the core hidden within. He spots the glowing blue gem, his demonic arm already crackling with red energy to destroy it. The puppet master curses from his hiding spot, realizing his creation is about to be taken down. As the first core is destroyed, the golem's body begins to crumble and collapse. The demon yells in frustration and sends the golem's remaining arm to crush the young warrior. He lands on the golem's arm, his own hand glowing as he drives it into the stone. His arm plunges deep into the creature's chest. Searching for the second core, he finds and shatters the second core, causing more of the golem's body to break apart. The stone giant is rocked by a series of internal explosions as both cores are destroyed. Pace grits his teeth, knowing he cannot maintain the golem's current size with only 1 core left. The remaining parts of the golem begin to shift and reform, preparing for a new transformation. The last core, now glowing a bright yellow, becomes the centerpiece of the new form. His companion lands nimbly on the ground, both of them preparing for what comes next. The puppet master cackles as he reveals his creation's flight mode, now a floating, armored vessel. With a final command to retreat, Pace and his transformed golem begin to fly away from the battle. The demon decides there is no need to stick around, wondering who these uninvited guests even are. He is content to just torment the weak to survive, and that is all he needs from his life. As he makes his escape, a blast of fire shoots past him. The puppet master taunts her, claiming her attacks are too weak to break the golem's core. But the girl smirks, revealing that she has a trump card up her sleeve for just this occasion. She plans to overload her magic gloves with all her remaining gunpowder for a single, ultimate attack. With a fierce cry, she unleashes her power, launching herself directly at the fleeing demon. Pace's eyes widen in terror as a brilliant flash of light engulfs him completely. The blast is immense, sending a powerful shockwave across the entire battlefield. After the cataclysmic explosion, all that remains of the golem are chunks of shattered rock. The demon lies defeated on the ground as the two heroes stand over him, victorious. Terrified, the puppet master begs for his life, pleading with them not to kill him. The hero grabs him by the collar, asking if he was the one who lured a young girl into the forest. The demon nervously denies it, claiming his method is to kill the adult men first to torment the children. He explains that he enjoys making helpless children feel despair as they watch their protectors die. Convinced he has proven his innocence, he begs to be let go, but his cruelty only angers the hero more. The young man realizes that if the demon is not lying, then someone else must have tricked Lily. The defeated creature summons a small piece of his golem, hoping for a surprise attack. He lunges forward, shouting that he has caught the hero off guard, but his attack is easily blocked. With a single, powerful punch, the young warrior sends the demon flying, defeating him for good. All that is left of the puppet master is his shattered monocle lying among the rocks. The hero notes that unlike high-ranking demons, this one left no lingering power behind. His companion calls out to him, and they decide to head back to the village for now. Di volta a casa, Salon explica, que eles derrotaram dem ni runong, mas quaner el quem tina como avo lily. Eles se desculpa por dar falsas esperanças, mas a mulher agradece, dizendo que vingaro marido já era o suficiente. Su companheiro suspeita qual dem neo estava atrás deles, não de Lily, Entau il decide quai hora deals iram embora. Il acrescenica forasteiros, que ficam mudo tempo sis u far hours outros moradores si sentiram desconfort vase. A menina pergunta porque eles devem ir, resultando que foram eles que salvaram a vila. Suam ever gentilmente la diz quai hora de trabalhar na fazenda, mas a criançada está claramente chateta com a partida deles. A mulher insiste, pedindo I fila qued vicar na frente enquanto illa termina de falar com os convidados. Lily concorda tristemente e Solana la dia tapanha na cabeça, tranquilizando-a, enquanto a criança se prepara para ir embora. 2 and 9, a mema diz queles saubam vindos para ficar, mas não as impeders se sentiram que precisam ir. Ela lhes oferece comida tem como presente pela jornada, pequeno cima below de sua imensa gratidão. Como sorriso caloroso e gentle, ela pergunta se eles voltarão para visit. Los novamente em algum dia. O jovem concorda, mas consegue ver a tristeza em seus olhos enquanto as observa se preparando para partir. El cerro pano frustrado porque nem mesmo matar dem nio pediria trazer a verdadeira paz a vila. Su companheiro suger qual eles passam primeiro por uma cidade para reabastecer seus estoques de piel alvor e receber sua recompensa. Iloha pela janela considerando qual cidade seria mais próxima de sua localização atual. O assentamento principal mais próximo é Altred, a maior mais movimentada cidade comercial do Reino Gringold. Enquanto isso, dentro de uma sala luxuosa, uma figura misteriosa com uma cabranca permanece em silêncio. A figura segura cartaz de procurado com si rosto, claramente marcado como vivo ou morto. A pessoa misteriosa examinou cartas atentamente, com leve sorriso nas lábios. Solana observa que a grande guilda de Altred significa que eles podem sacar a recompensa do mestre de marionetes. He disagrees, pointing out the danger of going to Altred as the target of a kingdom-wide hunt. He explains that he has been in and out of that city many times, and someone at the guild will likely recognize him. If a fight were to break out in such a crowded place, it would be impossible to avoid hurting innocent people. His companion kicks her feet, reminding him that bounty requests for minor demons often get buried. She rests her head on the table, admitting his monster transformation was big news, but still asking if it is okay. She insists they need to restock on money and supplies like gunpowder and new gloves. so they should go shopping. She gets close to him, arguing that Altered is the only place they can get everything they need. Leaning across the table, she looks at him expectantly, trying to convince him with her determined gaze. He wonders if she is trying to keep his connections with people intact, so he does not become isolated. Feeling he cannot turn away her kindness, he finally agrees to go, but refuses to enter the guild himself. The commercial city of Altered is the largest in the Gringard Kingdom, a bustling hub of trade and commerce. Located at the heart of the kingdom, it is a central point for all manner of goods from across the land. Iron, food, medicine, weapons, and even magical items are all traded and shipped out from its ports. Where goods and money gather, people naturally follow, making Altered a very populated city. Thanks to adventurers and the kingdom's night corps, the city remains lively even in an age of demons. The hero knows that if the Demon King truly attacked, the city's defenses would not stand a chance. He puts on his hood, noting the town is as lively as ever as he and his companion enter the city. They walk through the crowded streets, knowing they will be fine, as long as they do not draw any attention. His companion reminds him that first and foremost, they will need money to buy anything. She volunteers to go to the guild to file the subjugation report while he looks for an inn. While walking through the busy streets, the young warrior tries to find a place to stay. Suddenly, a commotion nearby catches his attention, and he turns to see what is going on. A large man is harassing a young shopkeeper, accusing him of selling faulty, damp gunpowder. The shopkeeper nervously denies it, claiming he does not even remember selling the man any gunpowder. The larger man grabs him by the collar, accusing him of forgetting and demanding proof of his innocence. As he watches the scene, the hero thinks that bloodthirsty is a better word than bustling for this town. He knows the truth is that this prosperous city is actually crawling with shady and dangerous people. In a place like this, everyone is on their own, too wrapped up in their own lives to help others. Even with the town's prosperity, the constant threat of demons looms in the back of everyone's mind. He steps in, grabbing the bully's arm and telling him to leave the shopkeeper alone. The man turns, enraged by the interruption, but the hero calmly stands his ground. With his demonic arm glowing, he points out that the man cannot even prove he bought the gunpowder there. The bully feels an immense pressure from the hero's grip, finding it hard to breathe just from being held. With a final warning to watch himself, the young warrior shoves the man to the ground. The grateful shopkeeper thanks him profusely, asking how he can ever repay his kindness. The young man offers to throw in some of his gunpowder for free as a token of his gratitude. The hero declines, instead asking him to give the same courtesy to a female black market fighter who might come by. The shopkeeper is moved by his noble request. Even though the hero does not know which gunpowder Solana uses, he eagerly agrees to the request, promising to leave it to him as the hero walks away. With the situation resolved, the young warrior decides to resume his search for an inn. He passes by opulent buildings and well-dressed nobles, a world away from the struggling villages. He continues his solitary walk down the long, grand staircases of the prosperous city. As he walks along the waterfront, he feels a strange presence nearby, putting him on high alert. He thinks he did not mean to stand out, but a swirl of blue energy appears right in front of him. He sighs, realizing that, as expected, he could not slip past the eyes of this particular person. The energy solidifies, revealing a blonde-haired man who calls out his old acquaintance's name, Charles. He remembers his past life before he lost his arm, when he spent his days slaying monsters and demons. He was a capable warrior, fighting fearlessly against hordes of skeletal soldiers on the battlefield. He once faced down the massive boss of a skeleton army, ready to take it on by himself. Just as he was about to be overwhelmed, a powerful ice spell froze the giant creature solid. The ice shattered the monster, and behind it stood a calm and powerful-looking figure. That figure was Charles, a powerful mage who always seemed to appear at just the right moment. The man introduces himself as Charles Glass, asking if his old friend Roland is hurt. The hero could only stare in shock as The huge monster was taken down in a single blow. Charles insists on checking him for injuries, much to the hero's embarrassment. As the eldest son of a prestigious magic family, Charles was a nobleman who fought on the front lines. His strength was undeniable, but more than that, he cared deeply for his comrades, regardless of their rank. Because of this, he was trusted by both royals and commoners, and often teamed up with the hero. Charles accepts the hero's invitation to his nearby village, honored to be asked. The two warriors then head to Akuna village, the hero's peaceful home, before it was destroyed. Arriving home, he calls out to his sister Felicia, announcing that he has returned. A beautiful woman with long white hair turns to greet him, welcoming him back with a warm smile. Just then, a younger Solana peeks out from behind a corner, excited to see their guest is Sir Charles. Charles greets the young girl, noting that it has been a while since they last saw each other. Felicia introduces herself to the guest, and he bows politely, expressing his pleasure. He then formally introduces himself as the eldest son of House Glass and an administrator for the kingdom. She is shocked to learn that their guest is a nobleman from the prestigious House Glass. Flustered by his status, she offers to tidy up their small home, but he kindly tells her not to bother. Solana chimes in, reassuring her sister that Charles is not the type of noble to look down on them. He adds that noble blood is just blood, and when fighting demons, everyone is simply human. Felicia is touched by his words, calling it a wonderful way of thinking for a nobleman. The younger girl teases him, saying that even so, he still looks like a highborn gentleman. The hero puts his arm around his sister, telling her that Charles is a dear friend and he hopes they get along. She agrees, and the two formally greet each other, both pleased to finally make the other's acquaintance. Later that night, the warm light from their cozy home spills out into the dark, peaceful forest. The four of them gather around the dinner table, sharing a hearty meal of steak and bread. The hero helped with the cooking, and Charles brought along a bottle of fine wine to share. For a while, they all laughed and forgot about the war, enjoying a rare, peaceful evening together. Charles turns to his friend, telling him he has a wonderful family, and the hero agrees. He confides in Charles that while he talks of saving the world, his true desire is to protect this simple peace. Charles is moved by his friend's wish and offers his help to protect that peace, no matter the cost. The hero bumps his fist against his friends, saying he should be the one asking for that kind of help. Back in the present, the hero's bandaged arm clenches into a fist as the memory fades away. He tells his old friend that he is aware of the bounty, but Charles already knows about it. The nobleman explains that as a friend, he feels it is his duty to end the hero's suffering. Charles smiles, sensing there is more to the story than what the rumors and wanted posters say. The hero asks if he is willing to listen to a monster's tale, and Charles agrees without hesitation. He is confident in his strength, knowing he can handle whatever his old friend has to say. The hero smirks, admitting that his old friend is just as dependable as he remembers. He proceeds to tell Charles everything that happened, from the destruction of his village to the loss of Felicia. Charles listens patiently, his expression somber as he learns the truth about what happened to his friend's sister. Consumed by rage and grief, the hero vows to make the Demon King pay for what he did, no matter what. His friend asks what Felicia would think if she could see him now, consumed by vengeance. The young man looks down, admitting he will never truly know how she felt, but his path is set. He turns to walk away, stating that this chosen path is all he has left in his life. Charles sighs, realizing he cannot stop him, and says he will pretend they never met. The hero apologizes but promises that they will definitely meet again in the future. As he watches his old friend walk away, Charles agrees that their reunion is inevitable. After the hero is gone, Charles senses a dark presence behind him and turns to face it. The boy who once looked like him appears, greeting the nobleman. The boy introduces himself as Kronos and says he has been wanting to meet the Azurice of the Glass family. With a swirl of blue energy, Charles readies himself for battle, telling the boy to come at him. His eyes glow with power as he challenges the demon to show him what he is truly capable of. Meanwhile, at the inn, Solana comments on how nice it is surprised that it even has a shower. Now in her sleepwear, she thanks her companion for grabbing her clothes while she was washing up. She asks if he explored the town, but he reveals that he ran into their old acquaintance, Charles. He explains that he told Charles everything, and the nobleman agreed to let him go for now. Though he cannot rely on him, it seems the royal knights will not be searching for him in this town. He then asks how her trip to the guild went, and she confirms she collected the reward with no problems. She proudly shows him a heavy bag of coins and a new supply of high-quality gunpowder. She explains she got a special discount for being a female martial artist, much to her delight. He then asks if she found any new information, but she says the request for his capture was buried. He presses further, asking about Kronos or the Demon King, but there is no new information on them either. She tries to cheer him up, saying no news is good news, and he agrees it is a good thing. He knows that at the very least, Kronos is after him, so their paths will inevitably cross again. Until then, he vows to keep killing demons and stealing their power to grow even stronger. His companion watches him, a hint of concern in her eyes, but she simply agrees with his plan. She then pulls out a map, suggesting a route for their journey to continue their hunt. She points to a path where they can fight boss trolls and Nagus, while also subjugating a black, armored demon. She also notes that this route will take them by Karaki village, and he agrees it is a good plan. Solana stretches happily, glad that their plans are finally settled for the time being. With their immediate future decided, she flops onto the bed, ready for a good night's sleep. The hero also lies down, closing his eyes as he finally allows himself to rest for the night. As he sleeps, Solana quietly gets out of her own bed and approaches him. She reaches out to him, asking her deceased sister if she can hear her thoughts. She wonders if she is truly supporting him, the way her sister would have wanted her to. She remembers a time when Felicia asked why she would do something as dangerous as becoming an adventurer. The young girl had proudly declared she was not clumsy enough to trip over nothing, much to her sister's annoyance. She explained that, because she was always reliant on them, she wanted to do something on her own. Her older sister understood, telling her that if she had decided, then that is what she should do. Felicia then made her promise to stay by their brother's side as he fights his battles. The younger sister vowed that in her place, she would be the one he could come home to for rest. The two sisters held hands, their bond strong as they made their heartfelt promise to each other. She remembers how the three of them promised to always support each other as a family, but ever since that day, her brother has been in the midst of a never-ending battle. She knows that with her sister gone, she has to be the place where he can find rest and peace. She clenches her fists, understanding she cannot take her sister's place, but she can still be there for him. The next morning, she wakes him up, cheerfully wishing her big brother a good morning. He greets her back, asking if she slept well after their long and eventful day. With a bright smile and a thumbs up, she confirms that she slept like a log. And so, the two companions set out from Altred, ready to continue their journey. They fight their way through hordes of monsters and demons, steadily growing stronger with each battle. Their path eventually leads them back to the familiar forests surrounding Karaki village. As they walk, Solana stretches, noting they have taken down plenty of monsters and should be close. But the hero suddenly stops her, telling her to wait as he senses something is wrong. He looks around the dark forest, recognizing a distinct and unsettling smell in the air. His companion asks what he means, and he explains it is a dangerous plant-type monster known as a corpse garden. Since there was no report at the guild, it must have just appeared, so they decide to eradicate it. They venture deeper into the forest, the air growing thick with a strange, sweet scent and glowing petals. As they approach a clearing, they see the source of the smell, a field of beautiful, glowing flowers. The girl finds the sight both beautiful and creepy, a sentiment her companion shares. He knows that as long as the flowers are empty, they are fine, but his words are cut short. He punches a nearby vine, only to find it is not empty at all. To their horror, they see several bodies hanging from the vines, drained of their life force. The girl looks up in shock, her eyes wide with terror as she realizes what has happened. Among the victims, she recognizes a familiar facer. It is Lily's mother, lifeless and ensnared by the vines. Suddenly, a massive flower bud rises from the center of the garden, its tendrils reaching for them. The bud unfurls, revealing a monstrous maw filled with writhing tentacles and sharp teeth.